Today's episode is brought to you by Mood. Mood was created in 2002 as an online source for 100% federally legal cannabis grown on small, pesticide-free American farms.
So we're going to tell you about the online cannabis company that's revolutionizing how we deal with life's challenges. From sleepless nights to stress-filled days, Mood.com has created an entire line of not just gummies, but functional gummies that target specific health concerns with 100% federally legal THC blends. They'll deliver them discreetly right to your doorstep.
What makes these gummies different is how they've actually paired the THC and other cannabinoids with herbs and adaptogens. So you're really not going to find gummies like this in dispensary or truly anywhere for this matter. The one that is by far the most intriguing to me, which I think it'll be for Melissa, is the PMS one.
Most definitely. I have cramps. I have discomfort where my head is hurting. I also have, my mood is all over the place when I'm PMSing. So this is there to help for the difficult times in your difficult cycles. And I am so excited to try the PMS Support THC gummies. And you can get 20% off your first order at mood.com with promo code BLAME.
And they literally have gummies for truly everything. Immune support, menopause relief, PMS symptoms, mental clarity, schmexual arousal. And each one is crafted
Schmexual?
Yeah, schmexual.
What's schmexual? Why are you whispering? We're adults here.
We are adults here. If you're an adult, enjoy your weed and your sex. Best of all, not only does Mood stand behind everything with an industry-leading 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as we mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with code BLAME.
So head to mood.com, browse their amazing selection of functional gummies, and find the perfect gummy for whatever you're dealing with. And remember to use code BLAME at checkout to save 20% on your first order.
Imagine this. The best pasta sauce you have ever tasted sits abandoned on a plate. Wasted sauce. That is a tragedy. If only you had used Barilla al Bronzo pasta. Its bronze-cut texture holds your sauce and scoops up every last drop. The Italians call that scarpetta. Capture sauce the Italian way. Barilla al Bronzo. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Meta AI is the personal AI to help you with whatever you need. Plus, it meets you where you are. Not only is Meta AI now an app, but it's also on the apps you already know and love. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Plus the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. It's easy to access wherever you are. So whether you're talking or texting, Meta AI is convenient to use throughout your day. Experience our newest AI that's tailored to you by downloading the Meta AI app. Try the Meta AI app today on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of But Am I Wrong? Meghan and I are currently virtually in Paris at the Cowboy Carter tour, the Rodeo Chitlin circuit. We are watching because Miley should be coming soon.
We should be checking off something from my 2025 prediction list.
Yes, we talked about it a little bit on Fisting Friday. She started an hour late because it is bright as hell in Paris. Your sun doesn't go down till 9:57.
And I have a lot of questions about how many cigarettes you smoke in Paris with the sun blaring on you like that. To me, cigarettes are for a sunset and a chilly evening. What do you mean?
No,
you're just chain smoking
at 9 p.m. chain smoking and drinking wine.
Fluorescent lighting.
Yeah, it did get dark real quick. As soon as I feel like Tyrant happened, and she was she timed it perfectly for Tyrant.
Yep.
So we thought it was going to happen during our lunch break, but because she did start later, it's not. So we are looking at our phones.
We are.
You might hear a little bit of audio in the background if Coco isn't able to get it out. And guess what? You're just going to have to deal with it today because this is a momentous occasion.
And like we said in the last episode, I cannot believe that Paris is getting like, I cannot believe it. And
I just knew. I knew when Miley said, I'm going to be in Paris. And I said, this is it. This is it. Oh, it's still bright out.
Oh my God, it is. Yeah, this is, I have to say, it's also making sense. No offense. The stereotypes about the French smelling.
Because it's
hot. The sun is up for so long. You're so sweaty. I would be stinky too.
Yeah.
And then you're chain smoking while sweating. You know,
and
that's
drinking wine. It's all coming out your pores.
Oh my God.
And cheese.
Live pause. Okay, sorry.
It's just a pause.
I'm sorry.
This has been the best stream we've been on so far.
It has. And I thought I got kicked out, but I didn't. And then when I kept trying to click on it, oh my God, they're on 13%. Where's your external battery? Oh my God, if we lose them, I'm dead. I do have a screenshot of all the other people who are supposed to be live, but it's from Instagram, so I don't know if they've cross-referenced because they posted it yesterday.
The guy that I was watching where I told you, he knew what the fuck he was doing. Mm-hmm. He said, guys, I have bad news. I'm on 10%. But I have good news. I bought an extra battery because I know what I'm doing.
Thank God.
So there really isn't any bad news.
I need people, if you are going to go live, first of all, I need you to not sing. I need you to either be a gimbal yourself or have a gimbal.
All right. Well, this is But Am I Wrong?
So welcome. This is But Am I Wrong? We talk about when other people are wrong. We talk about when we're wrong, which is never because we're always correct. We also talk about pop culture, current events, all of those things. What you need to know is we have 3 segments, but we want you to vote on who you think was wrong in each part of those. We put stories over on our Instagram with polls, and you can vote on who you think was wrong. Write in for why you voted the way you did, and we read those results on our See You Next Tuesday episodes.
All right, we're going to get into our first segment, But Am I Wrong? But Am I Wrong is when we pick things from our own lives. It could be a person, place, or thing that we feel very passionately about, we might be wrong about, or we just think this needs to be talked about. And I'm up first today. And my thing that I think we need to talk about is just because a company is for the people today doesn't mean that they'll be for the people tomorrow. So in the U.S., we have DEI. I'm not going to get into the details because we know what DEI is. And basically everybody listening to this podcast is part of DEI. Mm-hmm. The majority of listeners are women. Mm-hmm. We've got a diverse community of people from different sexual orientations, colors, creeds. We're all different. Mm-hmm. And we all fall under DEI. So with Trump taking office, many companies preemptively rolled back their DEI efforts. One notably is Target, which had already, before this mandate was in place, had already curbed its LGBTQ pride merchandise line in response to conservative backlash, announced it would pull back on racial hiring and its racial equity action and change program and cease participation in external diversity surveys, with Chief Community Impact and Equity Officer Kiera Fernandez telling employees in a memo the decisions were based on many years of data and an effort to stay in step with the evolving external landscape, which, what does that even mean? So the thing is like there are a lot of companies that, roll back their efforts, but they weren't really with us to begin with. And Target pretended like they were, and now they are. And that's why they were a target of the boycott, because they pretended they were with us. And as soon as something happened, then they were like, you know what? Never mind. We don't like people of color. We don't like gays anymore. Bye-bye. And they have been feeling it in their pockets. But what I want to talk about is a company that was a staple in Los Angeles. One that whenever one of my friends would come in town, they'd be like, we have to go there. And that is Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. So in recent years, people have been complaining about the quality of the food slipping, and they even removed the iconic Obama plate from the menu. And they were like, what's up? Like that was my order whenever I went. 3 wings and a waffle. Thank you. And also lawsuits start coming in. Jamie Alejandro Carbajo Torres alleged that for at least the last 4 years, Roscoe engaged in a slew of illegal labor practices, ranging from unpaid overtime to not providing uninterrupted meal breaks to not reimbursing employees for work-related costs. And in another suit, a jury awarded a former employee of Roscoe's more than $1 million in damages after he sued the popular chain alleging racial discrimination and wrongful termination. Daniel Beasley, a black man, filed a racial discrimination and wrongful termination suit against the soul food chain that's popular with celebrities like Larry King, RIP, and Snoop Dogg. It's owned by an African American owner, but he gives full authority to other people to run this company. Another former employee of Roscoe's is suing the restaurant chain over alleged unpaid overtime. So like this is a ongoing thing of them just not paying people. So then an Instagram account, Epicurious Expedition, posted a video and this is somebody who I follow. She has she does like food channel, and she also like uses her platform for good. Like during Black History Month, she made every day she was making a video about a song by a Black artist that mentioned food. And then she would make the food that was mentioned in the song and then give facts about that. Yeah, it was great. Posted a video in late November showing that a Trump inflatable at the Long Beach Roscoe's entrance, and this ignited a strong response from her followers. She updated, and I believe I talked about this, but I'm going more into detail because she has given updates. She uploaded a second video on December 3rd that showed a 2022 inspector report from the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health citing multiple health code violations, and then shared her own fried chicken and waffles recipe for anyone looking to replicate the famed Roscoe's dish at home, which she reverse engineered. And the way that she did it was brilliant. The comments on both videos mostly demonstrated outrage towards Roscoe's alleged support for Trump, especially given the restaurant's history as a staple in the Black community and in the Democrat-leaning Southern California. One user said, "Ain't gonna lie, this one hurts. I used to love Roscoe's." Someone else said, "Not Roscoe's, what's next? That's so disappointing." Roscoe's then turned off the comments on their social media posts. And this dated back on a post through August 17th. And they still aren't really allowing most comments through. Carolyn, which is Epicurious Expedition's actual name, said Roscoe's has been synonymous with Black LA culture. When she spoke with Eater magazine, "I grew up poor and my mom would scrimp and save any time to take us to a restaurant that was a pillar in the Black community. For them to side with the man who supported the death penalty for the Central Park Five and turn their back on us like this is really painful." And then a businesswoman named Diana Vara, who identified herself as a partner in Roscoe's on her Instagram, chimed in with the Trump inflatable debate. In a since deleted comment, Vara wrote, "You can copy the recipe, but I guarantee the recipe won't taste the same," in response to Carolyn's post. And then Vara also alleged that the Trump inflatable was not associated with Roscoe's, but was intended for an event at a neighboring bar. Then Vara's Instagram page has since been private. She's been reached out for comments and by Eater, which I hate that name. I wish y'all had a different name.
Eater spoke with about saying that out loud.
Eater spoke with a source close to Long Beach's Roscoe's Chicken, who suggested that the inflatable was meant for an event at an adjacent bar called Seabird Jazz Lounge. Seabird, however, is closed and is now identified as Roscoe's Jazz Lounge online. The space is attached to the Roscoe's building. When asked who had reserved the next door lounge, Vara said the inflatable doll was brought from the LA GOP and URBT News, who hosted a watch party at the Jazz Lounge which is located right next to Roscoe. So her story just kept changing and changing. And though Roscoe's original owner, Herb Hudson, opened his first location in 1975, the last decade has been noteworthy of the struggles for the company. In 2015, the company dealt with bankruptcy, court proceedings related to millions of dollars in outstanding debt. Snoop Dogg at one point offered to acquire the chain. A former Black employee has sued them for racial discrimination. And then, in more information, this past month, or in the last couple weeks, Carolyn posted that her feud with Roscoe's has been going on for almost 6 months. And since then, Diane Vara's minions have been in Carolyn's DMs, leaving gorilla emojis and calling her the N-word. They're also saying that Black people are lazy, and that's why Roscoe's doesn't hire them anymore. Then they also make Finstas and faster than she can block them. And then Carolyn found herself in a depressive episode for weeks where she couldn't even get out of bed because of the nasty things they were sending her. During those 6 months, former employees have been sending her anonymous emails, DMs, and comments. Diana Vara then crashed out and said that everything that Carolyn had said was true. The blow-up doll was there and it was hers, and she does support Trump. Also, keep in mind, this lady is also Latino.
Yeah, I remember that.
Diane said they would make so much more money under Trump. And 6 months later, she's still in Carolyn's DMs and also responding to comments to people that are on Carolyn's page, even though Diane's page is private.
Sounds like broke behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like you're making a lot of money. It doesn't sound like you're on a yacht.
Carolyn said she stayed silent for 6 months because one of the remaining Black employees said that people were coming by and harassing them. And Carolyn said that she doesn't play about the 92%. So she sat silently for 6 months while they called her everything but a child of God, which is a phrase that Meghan has just learned. It is not new in the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
But there was only so much she could take. So then Carolyn describes that Diane began running Roscoe's because she found a sucker and licked it. At some point, she decided to play hop on pop with someone's 80-year-old grandpa and got herself pregnant with her meal ticket. So Diane, who appears to be in her 30s, 40s, slept with the owner of Roscoe's. And allegedly all his facilities aren't there, and she took advantage of him.
You mean owner?
Yes, Herb, the owner that founded Roscoe's, the 80-year-old man, yes. Took advantage of him. The company was supposed to be passed down to his two older daughters who were running a couple of the stores. And Carolyn was told that he didn't want to pay Diane child support. So in lieu of child support, he put Diane over the company. Carolyn was also told that his oldest two daughters don't matter anymore and they have been outed from the company. So, as I was saying at the beginning, watch where you spend your money if you care about companies who once supported the people and now are supporting an administration that we don't.
I can't believe this is still going.
Yeah. So, that's mine. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll get into Meghan's. Is the state of the U.S. making you want to escape?
Yes. And you can take the first step and learn the language before you go. Who makes it easy, Melissa?
BAIW makes it easy.
We are so happy that we have a new sponsor. It is BAIW, and not to fangirl too hard. We begged BAIW. We said, BAIW, BAIW, we need you.
Our audience wants you and needs you and asked us, hey, who do you guys recommend for languages?
And we're happy to say it's BAIW.
Not only do sometimes I want to escape, but I also want to stay here and talk to the people here on the ground, especially in our state of California. So I want to brush up and make my Spanish stronger. I took Spanish throughout school. I took Spanish and French, but I really, really need to strengthen my Spanish. What about you?
Spanish is the language that I grew up in California. So that is like you said, from the time that I could talk, the names of different streets. It was so ingrained, handcrafted by over 200 language experts. Yeah, they are voiced by, get ready, voiced by real native speakers.
Real people.
Oh, and they're built with science-backed cognitive tools like spaced repetition and interactive features to fit any learning style. I'm a big fan of BAIW games. This girl loves a game.
We both love games.
And like the sentence building stuff. So having it be in like a game format makes me feel, it doesn't make me feel like I'm learning. It doesn't make me feel like I'm being scolded in school. I'm just like learning something new, but I'm mostly playing a game.
We want you to learn another language, so we're teaming up with BAIW to give you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/don'tblameme.
Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/don'tblameme, spelled BABBEL.com/don'tblameme.
babbel.com/don'tblameme.
Rules and restrictions may apply.
If you've ever shopped online, and let's face it, who hasn't? Chances are you've bought something from a business powered by Shopify. You know that purple Shop Pay button you see at checkout? The one that makes buying so incredibly easy? That's Shopify. And there's a reason so many businesses sell with it, because Shopify makes things easier, and not just for shoppers. They make it easy to start and run your business. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. It gives you a leg up from day dot with hundreds of beautiful ready-to-go templates to express your brand style so you can get up and running fast. You can tackle your important tasks, from inventory to payments to analytics and more, all in one place. You can also spread your brand's word with built-in marketing and email tools built for you to find and keep new customers. And remember that iconic purple Shop Pay button that's used by millions of businesses around the world? It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. Your customers already know and love it. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/realm. Go to shopify.com/realm. Shopify.com/realm. I love a multi-use beauty product, like an eye/cheek/lipstick. It makes a full face so much easier, plus you only need to bring one product along for touch-ups. And whether you're all about simple mascara and gloss, or you love to play with bold shapes and colors, you gotta have that trusty favorite you turn to for every look. Thrive Cosmetics makes certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free products you can depend on for everything from simple daily wear to show-stopping self-expression. And it's all made with clean, skin-loving ingredients, high-performance and trademarked formulas, and uncompromising standards. And Thrive Cosmetics is beauty that gives back. For every product purchased, they make a donation towards 8 major causes, including social justice organizations and those impacted by cancer and homelessness. It feels good knowing that when I purchase a product, I'm also able to give back to causes that matter to me. And one product I love from Thrive Cosmetics is the Brilliant Eye Brightener. Like I said, I love a product that can have multiple uses, and the Brilliant Eye Brightener is just that. It's an eyeshadow and highlighter stick that's super blendable, and I'm slowly but surely stocking up on the 31 shades that it comes in. Try your new trusty favorites with an exclusive set for our listeners. New customers can get the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara and a mini-sized Brilliant Eye Brightener at a special set price with free shipping available at thrivecosmetics.com/thrive. Or save more with 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/thrive. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/thrive for 20% off your first order.
It is time for mine. And my hot take is something that, like, I have been debating talking about this because, like, I don't even really want anybody else's opinions. Like, I think if this is one of the things where I think if you have a different opinion, you are wrong. And I think you need to reflect on your moral compass. Like, this to me is like, there is no gray area. And the overarching statement is everybody is entitled to privacy. Even people who put their life online. They are entitled to privacy. Mm-hmm. And I want to say, especially in a time where we criticize, rightfully so, We criticize people for putting their underage children online and then profiting off of the content that they're in, or even just including them in content that not even the majority of their content. We've talked about that a lot. We've talked about child labor laws. We've talked about all of those kinds of things. And I think if we are going to exist in a world where we are rightfully critiquing people who put their kids online, we then cannot make claims like, well, they put their life online, so therefore they're not entitled to privacy. I'm like, yeah, but we also judge how they put their lives online. And dialing back is not a bad thing. And trigger warning for child loss in this one. It's devastating. But there's an influencer who I don't follow, but like I've seen her. She's friends with like people that she's friends with Aspen. So like I've seen some of that stuff when it's like similar videos that will pop up. So I've like seen who she is. I don't watch her content, but she is an influencer, and like a month and a half ago, maybe a little bit more than that, her 3-year-old drowned in their family pool. And the way that it came out was all of the speculation from like local news in her state of people being like, oh, 3-year-old boy found unresponsive in pool on life support. And people were like, that's her house. Like we can tell from this, we can tell from the like this thing of this. And so people were wondering like, well, she's not posting. This is like clearly what it was her. Her friends are now not posting, like all of this kind of stuff. And she to this day has yet to come back to post on social media. But the amount of discourse I saw online of people being like this, she was deleting comments of people telling her she needed to get a pool fence. She cared about her aesthetic more than her own child's life, all of these kinds of things, which is a really outrageous thing to say. And I will also say that like there was a lot of like self-righteous Australians in comments being like, you have to have a pool fence here in Australia. Like it is illegal. It's illegal in a lot of states to not have a pool fence here too. You get a fine. There are a lot of people who don't have pool fences in Australia. Like the laws doesn't prevent that kind of a thing. And like, you know, she had talked about getting one and they had a cover and whatever and all of that. And so she was being like wholly blamed for this. If you want to ask the question, does she have a partner? Yes, she does. Was her husband being blamed for this? No. What had come out so far that we had known online was that she wasn't home and she was still getting blamed for this. And then I ended up on a disgusting part of Reddit. I don't know why it suggested this search to me or this certain subreddit to me. I immediately blocked it because what people were saying was so disgusting. And that was that the only like quote unquote public thing that people have heard from her lawyer sent a petition to the coroner's office, the county and all of that to seal the death records of her son. Because seemingly there's a video of like security footage and she wasn't home and it's devastating. Like it's horrible. And she's already being blamed for this when she wasn't even home. And like, so now it has turned into, well, clearly she has something to hide if she's trying to hide this. I'm sorry. If people who again criticize rightfully so, parents are putting their kids online, but then you're going to criticize if they don't want to broadcast their death online. Are you kidding? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just the idea of having no sympathy for any of this or understanding that, like, you don't need to tell someone that, like, they should have done something differently. They know. They feel that way. They know that. But this whole thing of thinking that they're like, well, if she wasn't famous, they wouldn't have sealed these records. Like, we should be allowed to see this. We should be allowed to see this. Like, they don't. Just because she's famous. And I'm like, but the only reason why you care about it is because you know who she is. Like everybody in general, I understand that should be, but this to me, I find like so nasty and like so gross and sad. And the people feeling like they got to see your child's life, so they're owed their death is like really fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't know these people.
No, and like the whole thing of being like, yeah, but she put everything online, so like she made it seem like it's like she wanted us to know about them. So I do not think that we need to be taught lessons through real life people in this kind of a way and having it be like, well, I don't condone or support them showing their kids online, but they did. So now like you made your bed, now you have to lie in it. She lost her kid.
Right.
That's the bed that she is lying in.
Yeah.
She does not need to then share that with you. You are not owed that. It is not like well, then this will really teach a lot. Like, you are not God. Like, you are not this, like, all, like, just, like, dishing out of punishments or retribution or karma or whatever that fucking thing, all of that shit is. And this whole thing of, like, you know, celebrity, they get a different privilege and all of that stuff like us. I think everybody should be able to petition to close certain things if there is, like, it is affecting communities or whatever that is. If it's like, there's no one being sued. It's not a court case. Like, no one is being, that's not happening. It's just, you just want to hear about it. You just want to see it. And it's fucked. I think it's the same reason why, like, but two of the streamers who were shot and killed while they were on live stream, I don't think we should see those videos. I think even though those were public, I think those videos need to be taken down. Like,
yeah, in the same way when violence happens, like Facebook Live, there's been several of people that have gone live and things have happened in it.
And I think, like, people are so like, oh my gosh, be careful. You don't post your baby in the bathtub. Like, there are perverts. There are perverts for videos of death. This whole thing of that, like, this suddenly all this moral right and wrong when it comes to exploiting of children, when the children are no longer alive, like, then that goes out the window. And I'm like, that's so gross. And, like, this whole thing of being like, this is like, there is no tough lesson to learn. And the lesson to learn in all of this for, like, anybody is, like, this shit happens in a second. And, like, it can, like, and I saw, like, professionals and, like, people who work in, like, safety ERs, all of that stuff saying, like, everything feels preventable until it happens to you. Like, you can say that you can have all of these things in all of this kind of stuff. And, like, that doesn't change anything. And, like, nobody cares as much and nobody is as hurt as these people. And even some people were just, like, posting online, just being like, hugging my kids extra tight tonight. I'm like, don't do that.
When people do that.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That's so fucking weird.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, you don't know these people and they don't owe you anything. Nobody online owes you anything.
No.
Ever.
And
unless they borrowed money from you.
Unless there's a fucking Kickstarter with a goddamn fucking, like, deliverables and a contract signed. I even think that if people being like, if we had to watch your relationship, tell us why you broke up. And I'm like, okay.
No,
like, I walk around my neighborhood and I go, I would love to see inside all of these people's homes, but I'm not going up to their home saying, let me see inside your home. That's an inside thought I keep inside my home, inside my house.
Don't know, like, with the breakup thing, you don't know what trauma they've been through. They don't owe you jack shit.
No, and I think a lot of people think, like, well, we supported them through whatever. And I was like, but all of the content that you have consumed of loving and supporting this person is all of the same content people who hate them have consumed and come to the conclusion that they fucking hate them. So, like, why would you give that? Like, you wouldn't tell the people you love the same things about your life that you would tell the people who hate you. But, like, when it's a parasocial relationship, you're all receiving that same information. So, like, it's up to the person who's telling that information. Like, it's up to them to decide what they are comfortable sharing. But this whole thing of being like, it's safe with us. I'm like, it's not, though. It's nothing to do with you. It's all these other people. And it's just, it's sad. And people are like, she should never be on social media again. I'm like, that's how she made her money. Like, there's,
her job.
It is her job. And, like, if she comes back on, like, that's wonderful. But, like, she also is postpartum, dealing with a newborn.
Yeah.
Like, it's devastating. And it's insane to me that the dad is not getting any heat.
Of course not.
Because, you know what? There was a statement that did come out. Okay, so People reports Emily Kaiser's husband allegedly told police he lost sight of son Trig for 3 to 5 minutes before his fatal drowning. He was watching their infant when he fell into the pool and drowned. But based on, she had a newborn, so this probably was her first time getting out of the house.
That's so sad.
So sad. And, like, he's not receiving anything, any shit about this. She is. Like, she's the one who is being deemed responsible. She's being the one who's to blame that they didn't have a pool gate at that point, but they still had a pool cover and netting, and, like, they had, like, but she's to blame, not him. Oh, and then there's this fucking girl who just keeps, so they live in Arizona, but I think they used to be Mormon, or they are Mormon, and they're like Utah, whatever. So, like, they're tied in that group, so that I don't engage.
All right, now we're gonna get into But Are You Wrong? But Are You Wrong is when y'all write in with your own predicaments that's going on in your lives, and then we take it to the class and vote on it on our show. See you next Tuesday. You can look out for those polls on our Instagram so that you can participate.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say, we take it to the streets. We take it to the street. We poll everybody. We do a Billy on the street, and we say, who's wrong, who's not wrong. So submit it to butamiwrongpod at gmail.com. Keep it under 300 words. One more time. That's 300 words. Over 300 words, Melisa?
No, you'll get cut off.
And what's under 300 words? 299, 280, 200, 100. And we'll say this again, like I know that we've like set those people, some people have set the bar high with like being very funny and being very quick and witty. If you're like struggling to get everything in all together with the personality, don't worry. You listen to our podcast. We already think you probably have a great personality and you're fun and lovely. Like you don't have to sprinkle all of that stuff in, but use all of the relevant information so we can dish out the verdict as best as we can. And like Melissa said, we also have a form you could fill out as well.
All right. First up, hi, my beautiful queens who I know have never been wrong. I would like to know if I'm wrong if I report a doctor to College of Physicians. I, 27, female with multiple health conditions, including fibromyalgia, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, IBS, POTS related to long COVID, have concern about a doctor who is in his 40s and male. Gross. I have been sick for many years. By contracting COVID in 2021, I had a significant decrease in my health. I was seeing an allergist before and just saw him again recently. The appointment I had previous were informative, and he was willing to help in any way he could. I was referred to him again by my GP for ongoing stomach issues that a gastroenterologist has not been able to solve. In my opinion, the last appointment was unprofessional. It started by providing an update on my diagnosis of fibro. This sparked a lengthy rant about how that is not a real issue, but rather a result of the vagus nerve being influenced by unresolved hurt feelings from my past. This was more or less him talking at me. He made the point to say that this was the result of all my health issues. We conducted a basic allergy panel as my seasonal allergies had worsened this year. I had to ask for this and said I would like one since I was already here. While the allergens were being processed, he came back into the room, blocked the doorway with his body, held onto the door handle, and asked about religious affiliation and suggested that I need to pray and forgive with God. I did say that I have done multiple psychological tests to rule out issues with mental health. He doubled down on this statement, saying that my issue was not a level of clinical diagnosis. I left this appointment feeling completely gaslit by another doctor, his dismissive attitude adding to my distress. Would I be wrong to report him for unethical behavior? I'm left feeling confused and unsure about what to do next. This is a no-brainer to me.
This is a massive no-brainer. I was like with you being like, this sounds like that rheumatologist I went to until you got to the religious part. And I was like, oh, this to me, because like I never reported that rheumatologist. It was the amount of people who had already reported him for the same thing. I was like, and I should have done that. This to me is like I think once you involve like gender orientation, sexual orientation, gender, sexual orientation, religion, race, anything into that to me, that you report to like, not just like leave a poor review, like report to the people who regulate
records
this
and make sure that these people can or cannot work or have to pay fines. And also him using his body to physically prevent you from leaving is also gross.
Very gross.
He needs to be reported for his mental and physical distress.
Yeah, he sounds like maybe he needs to go back to church. Like, this doesn't...
Yeah. He needs Jesus.
He needs Jesus. There's a demon inside this motherfucker. Like, what the hell? Yeah, this is wild. And I will say, this is not like you should have done this, and I'm sure you did, and like there was no way to prevent. But with my rheumatologist, that whole thing, when everything went down, I think we were literally on we might not have been recording, but it was you and me talking. And I was telling Melissa about this, and then she like looked up the doctor and was like, there are reviews of people saying all this stuff. And I never thought to like look up, because like it's so hard to find a specialist appointment and do all that kind of stuff, that I was like, but like I left that being like burnt out from like finding another doctor. Like that was so much, it was so stressful in my life that I'm like, now I will never not seek out reviews from these doctors, specifically if it is a male doctor that I'm forced to see, like specifically seeking out reviews of that kind of stuff and like doing the vetting of things before. But like that fucking sucks when it's someone who you've gone to before and is like totally normal. And then they're like, actually, I've just decided this. They love to tell people like, this is just your trauma. This is,
and the vagus nerve too comes up too much.
Yeah.
And then they want you to buy a $600 device to massage that.
No, and it's like when my GP was like, when all my cortisol levels came back high, except for my urine one, and he was like, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't seem like a highly just on edge person all the time. I was like, I'm not. Like, I can get like social anxiety, like I can get anxious about certain things, whatever, but I'm like, but since being on beta blocker, like that is not something that I deal with on my life, is like being constantly stressed. Like I am not a perpetually like stressed kind of person. I will get overwhelmed, but like not like regularly. And I was like, and then every other doctor I've had is like, you're just stressed, versus my GP who was like, not to be rude, I feel like you're not. And I was like, I'm not, thank you. But like, good God, they love to blame it on our emotions.
So report his ass.
Because there's a lot of people who will experience the same thing and that will not have the capacity in them to like report at the time. Like I've had a psychiatrist I never reported that I wish I had. But again, like I was like young and I felt so, a
lot of times you feel it like it's your fault.
Exactly. And so like there was a lot of like, I felt a lot of undue responsibility and like shame with it. So I didn't report. And so I think when there are people who without a doubt are having the same experience as other people have had at that practitioner, and they are like wanting to report, please do it. Because for every person who they've gone through this, I think in general, there are far less people who are comfortable reporting it.
Mm-hmm.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. And as your vacation maximizationer, I'm going to make sure you hear the maximum sizzle of Comfort Inn's free hot breakfast. Let's get real close. Maximum apple. Now that's fresh crispimization. Maximum waffle. Hear that crunch. And that's maximum coffee. Oh yeah, that's the pour I'm talking about. Breakfast maximized before hitting the road. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Hank's the family fixer, always with his tool belt. But living with prostate cancer, he needed help. He asked his doctor about Xtandi and enzalutamide. Xtandi 40 milligram tablets treats men with prostate cancer that has spread to other parts of the body and responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRESS, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache. Talk to your doctor and visit Xtandi.com.
The rural way of life is about making everyone feel at home. Tractor Supply chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform intelligent customer service. Together, we put the power of AI to work across 2,200 stores, keeping things running seamlessly inside, curbside, and countryside. This is elevated customer experience. This is Tractor Supply with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Next one.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I need to know if I am wrong for not wanting to be friends with someone after 10 years of friendship.
I'll already say no.
She heard 24, had a talk with my best friend Kelly, she heard 25, in December of last year, in which I brought up the ways our friendship wasn't working. For one, Kelly would only come to me to complain about other people in her life. This includes her friends and family, and it was a majority of what we would talk about. This made me uncomfortable because I know these people, and it felt like the way that she would speak about them was clearly resentful. The other issue is that she would talk shit about me to her other friends instead of addressing her issues with me directly. So she basically created this loop where when someone made her upset, she would ignore them and then talk shit about them to someone else until she made them upset by that person and then go back to the first person to talk about them. She should get into square dancing. To me,
I'm already tired.
Yep. To me, it was totally exhausting and felt very high school, especially because a lot of the issues she had with the other people could have been resolved easily if she had just talked to them instead of talking about them. We didn't speak until April when Kelly reached out to let me know that I had hurt her feelings and I'd caused her to fall into a depression and have a hard time making friends with new people. but that she was willing to forgive me since we have been friends for so long. Am I wrong for not wanting to continue our friendship? Or was I wrong to talk to her about this in the first place? Please help, because I feel like a bad friend. Okay, bye. You are not a bad friend.
No, she's trying to emotionally manipulate you. You made me depressed, but it's okay. We're going to be friends forever, but you need to be friends with me.
I can't stand the people who are like, you did this thing, but like, I've actually found it in my heart to forgive you. And it's like, by the way, I'm actually not sorry. Like, I actually didn't do anything. And like, I didn't apologize. Like, you can't forgive me for an apology I never gave you. And like, where's my apology? Like, this whole thing of like just blowing it up bigger. But this is like, for 25, this is some petty stuff. Well, and especially because you've known her for 10 years. So like, not only you're like, this feels very high school. This probably feels like how it was when you were in high school. Like, it's probably like you knew each other at that age, whether you went to school together or not. Like, you've kind of gone through this. And to me, it sounds like if you can talk about someone who you've known since they were in high school as acting like someone very high school, then it's like, you haven't grown. You haven't moved on from this. And like, help, I'm still at the restaurant. She's still at the restaurant. And you're like, I've already left. I am done. It's a Taylor Swift reference.
Okay. I was like, I don't know what this is about, but
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. You're not wrong for not wanting to continue the friendship. And you're also not wrong for talking to her about this in the first place. And I think these are astute observations. It's like, hey, you could actually just tell these people that you were annoyed with them instead of telling me that you're annoyed with them. I find it crazy when people feel comfortable talking shit to other people who know those same people who don't have those feelings.
Yeah.
I'm like, pick
so
a better
brave.
audience. It's so brave. It's so, because I'm just like, by the way, if now you've set the precedent that like we're talking about each other behind our backs, cool. I'm gonna go tell them you said this.
What if I started talking about Lily to you?
I'm like, it's just like so weird. Like, it's so, if I'm talking shit about a friend and I'm like being annoyed about them, I've already told them.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, hey, I'm sending you and Kyle 15 drafts of a text message being like, and both of you are saying, this is too nice. Mm-hmm. This is way too generous. This is way too kind. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it could be read mean. They're both like, this is too nice. And then that text message never even got sent because someone decided to send a text that they definitely didn't send to other people to proofread to be like, how does this come across? Not good. Not good. But yeah, this to me is just, there's a lot of boldness in coming from this. And this is not the kind of friendship that I want going into my frontal lobe developing in my Saturn return.
Why would I want to be friends with somebody that is not a friend to me?
No, like I literally have said this on the podcast before, but like one of my repeat things of like when friends are like complaining to me about something, even if it's something I don't have vested interest in, like it's not like a mutual friend or it is, I will always just be like, I'm just not the right audience. Like you need a sounding board and you need someone to agree with you. I unfortunately am not.
And I know when my complaints will land on your desk and I know you're the exact right audience for this.
Exactly. And it's just like, there's no need to rope in someone who like, if you don't want them to tell you the truth or tell them how you actually feel, otherwise, like you could talk to therapists, you could talk to like whatever happened to like opening up your photo booth and just like crying on your photo booth and then deleting the video.
Mm-hmm. I would tell her about herself though. Be like, I don't want to be your friend because you talk about people behind their backs. And I know that you're saying things about me behind my back. Mm-hmm. And so I don't trust you. And then leave it at that and then friendship over. Yep.
I'd say, unlike you, I'm comfortable telling people to their face. So maybe you just start talking about, it's like, I don't think I can be friends with you. I've talked bad about you behind your back a lot. Mm-hmm. And she'd be like, no way. Like, that's hurtful. And I'd be like,
yeah.
Huh. You've never done that.
What a concept.
Genres are a
funny little thing. All right. Should we take a break?
We shall.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner,
You may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
What's worse than an ad interrupting your favorite music or podcast? That uninspired coffee you've been drinking while working, which is why Flavia is elevating your everyday coffee experience. Now you can enjoy cafe-quality beverages like coffee, tea, frothy lattes, and creamy hot chocolate made right in your home office, actual office, or wherever you want to upgrade your mug with bold, delicious flavors. Visit Flavia.com to shop the collection of machines and beverages now.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
We are back. It is time for our final segment, which is But Are They Wrong? Where we nominate a person, place, a thing, something, current event, pop culture that we would like to bring some public shaming to. And it has been, we have run the gamut. Melissa has introduced us to very niche things. Turns out you even talked about Karen Reed before. I even knew who Karen Reed was. We've talked about so many different things.
I didn't structure it around her.
I feel like I got into hers. I only started getting into hers at the end of the last trial or after the last mistrial. So what do you have for us today? What internet wormhole?
This isn't even a wormhole. Ooh. It is information that happened this weekend, or a situation that happened this weekend. I'm sure a lot of people heard about it, but I don't think enough people are talking about it in the way that it needs to be talked about.
Tell us how to do it.
So I want to talk about this unthinkable act, an act that strikes not just individuals, but at the very heart of our liberal principles. The events of this past weekend in Minnesota, the brutal attack carried out by Vance Boelter, it demands our attention and our condemnation and our unwavering commitment to the values he so violently sought to undermine, because this man, and no one has said it, is a domestic terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to speak plainly about why Vance Boelter is profoundly and unequivocally wrong, not just for his actions, which are undeniably criminal and monstrous, but wrong for his ideology, his twisted logic, and his catastrophic misunderstanding of what society stands for. First, let's confront the facts. He was disguised as a police officer, meticulously planned and executed targeted attacks on elected officials and their families. State Representative Melisa Hortman and her husband Mark were murdered in their home. State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were shot multiple times, enduring horrific injuries. This was not a random act of violence. This was, as authorities have stated, a calculated plan to inflict fear and violence upon Minnesota elected officials and their families. This man possessed a hit list of 45 elected officials, all Democrats, and voluminous writing suggested that this happened for months, like he'd been planning this for months. His actions are the epitome of terrorism. They are designed to instill fear, to silence the dissent, and to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power that is the bedrock of our republic. There's no justification, no grievance, no political agenda that can ever legitimize such depravity. In this sense, where he is targeting people, individuals, and their families in a democracy where change comes through dialogue, debate, but it all comes through the ballot box, not the barrel of a gun. When we resort to violence like this, we abandon the very ideas that define us as a civilized society. We descend into anarchy where might makes right the loudest, most aggressive voices prevail, and that is not what freedom is. That's tyranny. So this man is wrong, and our collective resolve, our commitment to justice, and our belief in power of democracy will prove him wrong every single day. So let's honor the victims by strengthening their foundation he tried to shatter.
Beautiful. It should be stated for anyone that this man did walk away in handcuffs.
Mm-hmm. Walked.
So I'm terrified that Trump will pardon him.
Yeah. I think that is a legitimate concern to have.
Uh-huh. And I even saw someone being like, the charges won't stick because it's not premeditated. I'm like, actually, unfortunately, a list is quite literally the definition of premeditated. Like, okay. And these are the same people who complain about, oh my God, the cities are on fire. They're burning. By the way, police officers are burning the Waymos. The police officer set fire to a Waymo. Like
they were bashing in their own police cars.
Yeah, they thought they were in the fucking music video.
They forgot that in LA we have cameras every fucking where.
They forgot you're in Hollywood, baby.
They were live streams pointed directly at them.
Yep.
Using their own weapons to destroy their own car.
I literally watched being like, we can. It's giving Love Island. We can see this, right? Like, we can see it. So, like, in general, like, and those are, again, the same people who voted for the Republican and all of that stuff are like, oh my God, after George Floyd, the city was in shambles. I'm like, not true. They're saying, like, LA isn't all that. And, oh my God, like, these people, I understand they're upset, but, like, oh my gosh, the looting is not the answer. And I'm like, this man who's doing your political bidding shot and killed people.
Mm-hmm.
You're also one of your other favorites. Kyle Rittenhouse shot and killed people. Mm-hmm. And this whole idea that it's like, we really draw the line when it comes to this fake story that we heard about the looting going on, but like, we should actually be allowed to kill you. I think that's fair. Huh? Fucking insane. And it is crazy to me. And I do think part of the reason why I'm not seeing, like, I don't know. I even think the fact that, like, he was able to be on the run for, like, a good fucking amount of time. All of this to me just, like, leads to, like, we are not learning as much about this man as we thought. And the fact that his LinkedIn is scrapped, like, they scrub, literally took on the Wayback Machine to find all of like, any information about him.
I also, like, think it was very much underreported. I usually know news pretty much when it's happening, and I didn't hear about this till the next day. And I don't know if that was a me thing.
I mean,
I'm usually on top of the news.
I heard about it, but it was a wildly limited amount of information. So once they reported it once, there's no new information. No one's reporting it again. And like, I cannot stress enough, like, the fact that, like, before this person has even been caught, when they don't even know who he is, and then they figure out who he is. Again, they figure out who he is before he was caught. What do you mean that all of his websites and stuff that were there when his name was first released are now scrubbed still before he's in custody?
Mm-hmm.
Who's scrubbing them?
Did you see the interview with his roommate?
He had a roommate?
Mm-hmm.
That bald, fully grown man?
And there was another, like, big, fully grown man. But he was like, because at first, when the reports were first coming out, they're like, this man is a Democrat. And his roommate got up and he said, no, that's not true. This man is MAGA. This man is a Republican. Like, it was clear he did not like him, and he didn't want any association with him.
Well, because they kept trying to be like, Tim Walz hired him. I was like, for a nonpartisan position that was already given to him prior to that, like, amongst the local government. Like, that's not a Democrat. And then they put allegedly, in my theory, the New York Post was like, they were one of the people who I saw report about it. And it was like, the information we had, like, Tim Walz hired him, like, disgruntled Democrat. And they had in his front seat a stack of, like, printer paper. And the 3 top pieces of paper just said no kings on it. And then the rest of them were blank. And I was like, you couldn't have tried a little bit harder to... There's 3 posters. The rest are blank. This is not a stack of them. This is very odd. This is very weird. But yeah... So so excited to see how the thoughts and prayers and mental health advocacy of the Republican Party that comes out every time that someone pulls a trigger on a gun, who is not a blue-haired liberal. I'm very excited to see about how they, what initiatives of the mental health they would like to take on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Really excited to see where it goes.
All right, you're up.
I would like to nominate the Boca Aquarium. Now, when I say the Boca Aquarium, Melissa, what comes to your mind?
The thing is, I already know. So
play dumb for me.
Yeah,
an aquarium, right?
Initially, I would think that I'm going into an aquarium.
How would you define an aquarium? Like, if you closed your eyes and you painted me a picture, what does an aquarium have in it? What does it look like?
I would walk in and there would be hazes of blue.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I get further in, I will see ripples. As I continue, I will see multiple large floor-to-ceiling glass rooms filled with water and aquatic animals everywhere.
And I have to say, as someone who has grown up and lived in California my whole life, I know I am spoiled. I know I'm spoiled with the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And like, I know not everybody's got something that big, but like, I do expect to walk through what I can only describe as I'm underwater and there's just some glass protecting me and the entire ecosystem above me to either side. It's looking like a field trip episode of Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
That's what you expect. And that's definitely what Corey Ray thought that she was getting into when she took her 2 children to what was advertised as the Boca Aquarium. And boy, oh boy, was she shocked when she pulled up there. And it's a strip mall, but at the same time, it looks like a big building.
In Northwest Arkansas, there's an aquarium that's like at the equivalent of the promenade. It's also called the promenade, but like there's an aquarium there.
Yeah, and we live in Los Angeles. We can't judge a strip mall, but that's where you guys will get $500 fucking Kylie Jenner getting sushi there. Like, that is what we are built on. And it is a big building, but, you know, on the top, it's like diamonds. Diamonds by Raymond Lee. What is this? And you go inside, and they did advertise it like a whole ass fucking aquarium. You go to their social media, it's just aquarium. They are including pictures or videos of aquariums that are not even their own. And you go, and it's a jewelry store with an aquarium, and by aquarium, I mean a fish tank, a couple fish tanks in the back. It's very much giving
tabletop fish tanks.
Yeah, it's like very much giving the bank that my dad went to when I was a kid. Me calling that the county fair because they had popcorn. No, there are no games. Like, sure, I can get popcorn there, but this is not a movie theater. This is not the fair. This is not the same thing. So you walk through all of this, and then they have 2 little fish tanks sitting on the countertop, seemingly where you also go to check out. Her kids are being champs about this. And
they don't know.
No, and then they've got a couple of little other ones that are like built into the wall of these like same sizes as like a home fish tank. And it's a private collection. And she shows inside and she's doing all that. And she pans the camera and there are 4 other people in the store who are customers. No one's looking at the jewelry. Everyone is standing there awkwardly looking at the fish tank, seemingly going, yeah, my bad. Definitely thought this was a real fucking aquarium. But the crazy part of all of this, like, she was funny and like was not rude in her original video. It was just like, you know, like, okay.
That's weird.
That's weird. That's suspicious. But like, did not go too deep into it. She never even brought up the potential of tax evasion and tax breaks and all of this kind of stuff. Other people did. She didn't even engage with it. She wasn't even doing like a response to be like, great thing. Someone look into that. She didn't do any of that. And so for some reason, I have to assume whoever is running the Boca Aquarium TikTok account is either like the child of Raymond Lee himself or someone who feels so untouchable in their job, because I cannot stress this enough. There is no way the person who runs this TikTok account has a LinkedIn page. Like, there is, like, to me, I'm like, this is such a bad response. So they did a response video. After you scroll, and prior to this, all of their TikTok is is fucking sea creatures. All of it is. And some people are even pointing out that some of these are like aquariums at Disney. Like they're not even their aquarium. They're just like repurposing other people's aquarium content. And sure, after a while, you could probably find a couple that like indicate, like if you squint and look in the background, that like, that kind of looks like a store. But again, this, like Corey, she found them on Google. Like this was not like a TikTok account that she should have done more research for. So all of the things are aquarium videos until after Corey's video blows up. The person who runs this account on the Boca Aquarium TikTok does a spend a day with me at the Boca Aquarium. Caption, peace, love, and fish.
So I did my research, and I clearly saw it's inside a jewelry store, and the whole thing lasts less than an hour. But who am I to listen to what the internet says, right? First lesson I learned in my IT class, ignore all logic. So I came prepared. Bag of snacks, water, beach blanket, just in case it turned into SeaWorld. Eggs, maybe I could trade them for gold. Have you seen egg prices lately? A diaper bag, not for my kid, but for whoever dares to piss me off. And of course, my cooler. I never leave the house without it.
I didn't see this.
So then, we just keep going of the reality of like going to the Boca Aquarium or the Boca Aquarium versus whatever. What I'm posting online to get views. And then they have some like random old ladies, which I assume is Raymond's mother.
Also, it's Boca. It could be anyone.
I feel like they called them in to come do this. Then they posted, we've officially been outdone at, and they reposted a account that's like not AI requests. It's called.
Residents are excited about a new attraction in town, the Hazelton Aquarium, located here inside One Stop Gas and Convenience.
Makes the store feel a bit nicer, doesn't it?
This aquarium is better than the Boca Aquarium. I'm so happy I could take my kids out for such a wonderful time. Usually I don't let them leave the basement.
Hey.
I'm scared.
Why are you posting this? And then finally, their most recent post, which is their pinned post from one day ago.
To work because we've been hustling our little touches off all morning.
Oh, yeah? Where you been?
At the aquarium, it's shutting down.
You mean the keychain store?
It's an aquarium.
Oh, the little one by the ferry? Man, I haven't been there forever.
No one has. That's why they can't pay their taxes. Wait, aren't aquariums nonprofits?
It's really a keychain store with fish.
And you're a body odor store with burgers. Tina! Sorry, Dad. It's too bad they're not a church or a place of worship. Then they'd be tax exempt.
Wait, churches don't pay taxes?
Churches?
They're telling on themselves.
Excuse, what? What? And then one of the comments on this is Boca Aquarium should have shut down in September of 2024 when their LLC was dissolved by the state of Florida. I'm like shocked. And maybe part of me, I was like, maybe this is like someone reposting all of these things, but I'm like, but it's not, because these are the videos that they've been going on for months. Like this is all prior to this. Because literally at first I was like, there's no way that the social media manager is so fucking bad at their job that they are going to post a tax evasion joke on the fucking official account. There's no way. There's no way. No, it is the account.
But they did.
They did. And like, this is getting so much bigger. Corey's being like interviewed by like all these like news outlets and all of that stuff. And like, again, Corey never brought up the taxes. And now I'm going to say that you making a joke about the taxes will give the IRS wow, that sounds like a go ahead. Let's actually dive into that a little bit more. And it's a crazy response. It's a crazy response to something of being like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. That is a little bit of a mix up. Even though you have intentionally misled people into thinking this is a real aquarium. I would also really love to see, in doing that, there's no way that if you are advertising this as an aquarium, not a jewelry store, I would love to see your profit margins on your jewelry. I would love to know how much you're making on that, because the aquarium is free because it's not real. You're just walking through a store. Are people actually buying your jewelry? How are you making this money?
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't know. I just saw her video and I think it was a news thing anyway. So, yeah, I didn't know the extent of what was happening with this.
I watched her video, like I saw it like organically on my For You page a week ago or something. And then I just started seeing like more and more about it afterwards, but not from her. And I was like, oh my God, she didn't even know what she was doing. Like, she didn't know what she was unearthing.
Wow. Well,
crazy.
Thank you for sharing that.
That's what I'm here for.
All right. That's the end of our episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for joining us. Join us on Tuesday for See You Next Tuesday. Wednesday, we will have a special episode where you will get into the nitty gritty of Peanut Butter Gate. Thursday, we have Don't Blame Me. Friday, Fisting Friday. Have a great weekend, and then join us again on Monday for But Am I Wrong? We will circle back. Bye-bye.
This is a Sister Sign production hosted by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Can you actually change your personality if you want to? How does peer pressure work, and why is it so powerful? Should you ever really trust your gut when you make a big decision? These are just a few of the topics we've recently covered on my podcast, Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and each episode of Something You Should Know covers multiple topics that are likely relevant to you. You'll discover things you can use in your life today, right now, like how to have a great conversation, how to be more courageous, the anatomy of the perfect apology, and much, much more. To date, there are over 1,000 episodes of Something You Should Know, and we've gotten over 4,000 mostly 5-star reviews. I invite you to check out Something You Should Know. Look for the bright yellow light bulb on the blue background. Something You Should Know, wherever you listen to podcasts.
In humanity's search for other worlds, we found something unexpected.
It's a massive collection of tiny pocket realities, and each one is a story.
So we can actually transcend our usual 4 dimensions of space and time to go physically into these stories?
Yes, using the Muse Pod.
But when we explored those stories, things didn't go as planned.
Mr. Darcy? That horrid man.
I am Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
None of us have been the same since Beth died.
What happens when classic stories go wrong? I go in to fix them.
Ah, humbug.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?
For the love of God, Montresor!
Subscribe and listen to Muse, the latest audio drama from Dayton Writers Movement and Realm.
I am Dracula, and I bid you welcome.
From the podcast that brought you to each of the last lesbian bars in the country and back in time through the sapphic history that shaped them, comes a brand new season of cruising beyond the bars. This is your host, Sarah Gabrielli, and I've spent the past year interviewing history-making lesbians and queer folks about all kinds of queer spaces, from bookstores to farms to line dancing and much more.
For 11 years, every night women slept illegally on the common.
We would move down to the West Indies to form a lesbian nation.
Meg Kristen coined the phrase women's music, but she would have liked to say it was lesbian music.
And that's kind of the origins of the Comedy Hoover Collective.
You can listen to Cruising on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes air every other Tuesday starting February 4th.